This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So we'll see again from starting about the quota. I have texted or I have sent the link which you are required to follow. So in that, the feature of this is mentioned that to limit the consumption of storage. And here we'll see more over the things based on block and based on inode. And there are two stages, soft and hard for that. The third one, what I have explained, that we'll also see the grace period. So how to enable that? We have seen yesterday. We need to add in FS tab user quota, and we need to add the mount point as well for that particular device. So left side, what you see, dev mapper system-tmp, it's a file system which we are required to mount. And in our case, it is /dev/stv3, and /tmp is the mount point where we wanted to mount particular storage device. In our case, we have mounted that in quota /quota. The file system and the user quota and the one to that we have seen yesterday itself. Mount is we wanted to mount it again rather than rebooting it. So we have done that thing by using reboot. Now they wanted to see that whether it has mounted with user quota or not, user quota permission or not. So for that, I used to run mount command all the time to see whether mount command, what mount command shows. Mount command shows that what all partition has already been mounted. And in that, this will also mention that it has been mounted there. So we will grip and we'll get to know what is there, what is not there. So now after that, we have done a quota check as well. Quota check as well, whether it is enabled or not, and we have seen that it is enabled. Since it was not having any file, it was giving separate things that it is enabled. Next, we will go to quota check report. There we can see the report, what we have seen yesterday. We were able to see the report of hard used space and the user and the unused, soft, hard, and grace period was not showing into the tabular column, but yeah, it was showing that what is the grace time for block and what is the grace time for inode in the top in the summary. So here we will try to calculate the block count and inode count as well, so that we can give that block count and inode count for our purpose for the calculation. So let me turn on the VirtualBox. Is it visible now? Screen is visible or is still not visible? Yes, sir means it's not visible or it's visible. Okay, thank you. This is the utility which, okay, this is the utility which we are going to install for calculating or looking at the, oh, it's already there, no problem. Tune to fs-l space /dev/stb1. This was the device for us, so it will give us, we are looking at inode number and -i inode count log count seems to be capital. Why it is not coming? Inode count is there. I can see that. Okay, no problem. We wanted block count and inode count. Here we have 524288 and 2096896. So how it has been calculated, we'll see that. So actually any disk has been formatted into 4096 block. Okay, so by default it's been formatted in that. And if you see any disk is during format, if you see explicitly if it's mentioned in 512 blocks, it's going to be get formatted, and probably you can change your calculation accordingly. So here what we see is the total block count is 2096 896 2096 896, and in that 4096 we are going to multiply and then divide by 1024. That was the bytes, so we are going to get that into KB and then GB by doing those, sorry, KB, MB and GB. So let me open the calculator and see whether it's happening or not. So in calculator, one seven six. No, sorry, 2096 2096 into 4096 divided by 1024. This is in KB divided by 1024. This is in MB. This divided by 1024. This is going to be in GB. 7.99 GB. And that is what we have in 8 GB storage space. That is what we have created yesterday, 8 GB storage space for that. So let's say you wanted to reserve 2 GB for each and every. So for 2 GB, how much block count we are going to do is 2 into, convert GB into MB 1024, then MB into KB 1024. JB to MB, MB to KB. Yeah, kb to bytes, and then divide this into 4096 blocks. 4096 blocks. So this is going to be our 2 GB file. 524288 blocks is going to be in 2 GB. So we are going to add this into our inode, into our block things when we edit that block. Hyphen user test. What was the number we have found? 524288. 524288 was the number. And so it's like they are setting up both the things, hard limit and soft limit. So I'm going to set both the things uh, same 524288. And if I leave the hard limit, if I set the hard limit only, if I don't want to set the hard limit, I should be able to do like this itself. What was the number we have gone through? 524288. 524288. 524288 was the number for us. And then we can get the report of that /o. This is deleted. Okay. It's showing us 512 MB for hard limit, but we have, let me reboot and see. This is going to be the same. Hmm. So is there a calculation it seems to be wrong or how it is? I need to recheck that. What's showing like that? Let me see. Total I know total block is that one. Okay. So that shows 40 GB. That's okay. Fine. For 10 GB, it's so what is required to be mentioned? The size seems to be in MB, not in bytes. So what was our target? What we wanted to do is we were having total number of blocks 2096, 2096, 896. Okay. So vice versa, if I'm going for 2 GB, 2 into 1024 into 1024, 2097,142. Let me give that 2097,152. Hmm. Okay, so it needs in MB. Sorry, it needs in KB. It seems we have given the size in. So whatever the size we are going to input, it's going to take in KBs. So let's say if we do have, if our motive is to go into GBs, like 2 GBs. So for 2 GBs, we are required to convert into KBs. So 2 GBs, 2 GB into 1024 and is going to be in MB, and then once again multiply by 1024 is going to be in KB, and that is what the value I have written here, 2097152, and which is going to get calculated here. And you can see that for test user, the hard limit is going to be 204 at MB. And coming back to setting of the grace period, similarly, we can calculate the soft limit as well. I mean, because we just need a size, we know what is the meaning of soft limit and hard limit. So for calculation of the grace period, we are required to give the time in seconds actually. So let's say I want for 1 hour. So in 1 hour, we will have 3600 seconds. So let's say set quota 520 for that. And for both 3600, 3600 slash quota. We will see the report. You can see that this is 1 hour. it's mentioned in our. So if you want this is to be, let's say, 2 minutes, I can give this for 120 seconds. Not showing for 2 minutes. So this limit is going to be the grace period we are going to have for 2 minutes only. For turning on and off, we can see that quota on -ap, which is still on. For quota off, we can give we have quota turned off. So similarly, we can add the things and remove the things here. So anybody has any doubt so far in this? If no doubt, then we'll go for the permissions. Um, for any file, we will have a permission called Ritesh. You wanted to say something?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for any files permission, we do see that we will have first, when I've done ls-al, we are able to see whether this is a file or not. I think you should be, here we are setting it for group, not for the user, if I'm not wrong. You are saying that you wanted to set for multiple users for the quota. Am I correct, Mangesh? So here we are setting it for a particular group, and then you can add all the users to individual group, or maybe in one group. You can club everybody, and then probably you can add the particular user with the along with the quota. Yeah. So we can see that ls-al here. Just a second. We are having D. If we do have D here in the first character, it means it's a directory. Let me create a directory. Test dir. So we can see that this test dir is also a directory here, which we have created just now. And read, write, execute. The first is for user. Read, write, execute. Read, write, execute. Okay. when I do ls-l, you can see that D is for Kamal. We have D here is for directory. Read, write, execute is the 3 permissions for normal user. Read, write, execute is these 3 permissions are for group. Read, write, execute, these 3 permissions are for group. Sorry, for other users. So in most of the cases, you will see that you do have read permission only for the files and execute permission only for this, what to say, for the directory. And yes, you can have execute permission for any script as well, since we have executed, since I have executed this script. So the purpose of read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute is here. I want my files to be get executed, gets read, and get written by me. Just hold on for a second, please. So in an organization, there may be a case that we wanted my files to be get read, not executed by any other person, or not deleted, or I don't want to give the right permission to others in my folder or in my user folder. So for that purpose, you can set up a directory, and where you can create a directory of individual users, and there you can set up these permissions like read, write, execute, and that dash dash dash. So uh, for that you will have uh, decimal number. Read, write, execute. 1, 4, 2, 1. So if you want to add execute, this is only for one read, write, execute. It means like this is only for a group, or for a user, or for other groups. So for setting up all these threes, you need to write the number 3 times. You can see read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. These are all the 3 times it happens. So if you want to set for all, you can mention 3 times. So here, how we are going to set that, that's what we are going to see. Read, write, execute means read has value 4, write has value 2, execute has value 1. So if you want to give read, write, you are required to give 6. If you want to give read, execute, you are required to give 5. And if you want to give read, write, execute, all the 3 is to be 1, you are required to give 7. You are required to give 7 here. So that's why I have given 777 here. So read, write, execute, I wanted to give permission for this directory. 7 for 7, I have given this 7 is for user, this 7 is for this group, this 7 is for other groups. I hope this is clear. So like this, we can change the file permissions, and with having this number. So through ch own also we can change the ownership. ownership of the particular file, so that in some cases you are required to change the ownership. Let's say you are running a process HTTP and some files is required to be explicitly written by HTTP only. So in that case, it will demand for you to change the ownership of that particular file into HTTP. So in that case, you are required to change something like chown, then HTTP user, and then group HTTP, then particular file name. Let's say testdir, and then you hit enter. So this is the way you can change ownership of any directory or any file with having a user and group. So here we can see that when we have done ls-l, this is the user and this is the group ownership for this particular file. Let's say if I am going into testdir and if I'm creating a directory testdir1, testdir1, so I know it's going to be the permission denied because okay, etc sudo list. So what I can do here is so okay, sudo space -s sudo space test cd space pwd ls-l. Here we have date. Okay, we can see that here the date file has been created by user root, and the remaining file we can see it has been created by the test. So similarly, this is the user and this is the group. So currently I am in test and I am, if I create now in the home directory of test, it's going to create with test. So let's see, mkdir space test dir test, it's created. And if I'm going to create the same thing with sudo, it's going to create with root. Okay, testdir1, you can see that we have created testdir and root is going to create. So by adding sudo, you might have seen here, just know that by adding sudo, we are going to get the access of admin, I mean to say root here, and that is how we are able to execute all these things. Anybody has any doubt here? So the purpose of showing this is you can change the required username or the group name if you want using chown. Okay, let me show here test underscore dir1, not permitted because it's root, and through root I should be able to change it. You can see that it's changed to test now. So now I wanted to give a brief description about the folders and files which is found in Linux. So when you see that this is bin binary, which is again going to, when you see any arrow, it means like this is a soft link of this particular file or folder. So user bin are the binaries where all our binaries has been kept. Uh, for whatever the command we are giving, all the binaries has been either has been kept for this user or this has been. Boot is a boot directory from where the boot works. I meant to say this was the boot directory which has been mounted if we have given any separate boot during the installation. But I think in our case we have just given root and swap, so we need not to worry about anything. So here the boot is a partition or not a partition. Boot is a folder where all the boot related file system has been, or boot related files has been kept. So let's say grub2.cfg and vm linux kernel binary, all the things is been kept here. You can see that EFI grub2 init ram fs and vm linux. So all these things has been kept. Init ram fs actually it's a file system image. When you, I mean, this is a file system image which is supposed to be get loaded whenever you're turning on the system, and VM Linux is the binary of your compiled kernel. So if somebody asks, you should be able to say that what is the difference in between VM Linux and init ram fs. And system.map file is the system call file. I mean, we do have a system call in development. When somebody does the development, you do have a system call, and in that system call, here we do have a hex value of that particular system call. And that it means that in our binary, what is the location of that particular APIs. So through the system.map, it gets searched and it gets executed. And let's move further. And in dev file, we do have devices, all the devices mounted. Whenever you are going to plug in any device, it's going to get visible in dev folder, all the things. And etc folder is whatever the application you are going to install. The application folder, application files, all are going to be here, and all the system management related to the folder and files are going to be here in /etc. And home folder is a folder where you will get a directory for all the users created. Let's say if I am creating home, we have created a what to say, we have created a user test and startingly, so we have test user in home folder. So for creating a user, what used to be the command user add, let's say user1. So only admin can do that. No, I think add user. Okay. By doing user add, we can see that we have user1 directory, home directory, and after that we can set the password. Password of user1, and then only root can you specify the root. So let me add sudo. I can give the password. So This is the user one created, and the main purpose of this is to showcase that whenever we are going to add any user, it's going to create a home folder for that. Mm, so you can create a home folder like this. And somebody has asked that if you want to, let me see the question. What was the question? Sir, I have a question. I want to create a user without any password. What is the command? So you wanted to log in without a password. Is that correct? Is that correct, Ritesh? Ritesh, are you there? First of all, which is not actually, it's in a good practice that you should be allowed to log into the system without any password. So there can be two meaning, whatever the question you have asked. Either you want to create a user without the password. So that's what we have done. We have created a user without password. It means it doesn't have any password right now, but it doesn't mean that you will be able to log in there. So we have simply created a user. Is that okay, Ritesh? Okay, no problem. We'll proceed further. So two things like what I've said as you can without giving password, you can. That's what we are doing is we are creating a user without giving the password itself. So user will not have any password. That's one thing. Another thing is like your requirement is you wanted to log in without password. That's the different thing. If you want to log in without password, definitely you have to set up a user and password, and then you can add up your SSH keys, public SSH keys for password-less authentication. But it is not at all advisable for you uh, to have a login without password. Oh, I hope I'm able to reply your question. Mm, yeah, I was explaining about the folders. Home folder we have seen, and lib64 lib is the libraries for running the application, and the extension name of the libraries used to be .so file in most of the cases, and lib64 is the 64-bit libraries for that applications. And what we see is media. Media is if we do have any device which is mounted there, that can be get populated as media. MNT is a folder where we do mount or create our pluggable devices, whatever. Let's say you have USB device. Let's say you have any any, not even pluggable. If we do have any, I'll take back my statement. You have any hard disk that also can be get mounted in MNT, and OPT is for optional. Whenever you have any extra things to keep, you are allowed to keep in OPT folder. Extra thing is like, let's say you suppose you are creating a private database in your application or some space in that. So for that purpose, you can use OPT. Proc, the proc file system here is process-based file system, which tells lots of information about running of a process. You can see that all these informations, all these numbers are actually is a PID number of that particular process. And remaining information, it's all about the system information, like how things has been set up in the system. So cat proc modules gives us the information about the modules installed in it. Like modules means like the driver installed in our system. So SD underscore mode is a driver, CRCT10 diff is a driver. So all these things, it's a driver. This is the driver name. What the first string you see, it's a driver name. Cat proc modules. And after that, cat proc CPU info. It's going to tell about the CPU info here. I do have processor. The name is this 11th Gen i7 processor, CPU family. So all those things we can see. CPU cores, it's only having one core, and these are all the things flags it supported. So like this, you should be able to see the CPU info. What are the things I can show you is version. Do we have any version? This is going to give you the kernel version, Linux version 3.10.0.-1160. So this is the Linux kernel version which we are setting currently. Kernel is a software which is responsible for running all your user space application and handling or controlling all your system. Either it's including hardware and software both. So getting to know about the kernel version, there's another command as well, udemy -r, which gives me only the kernel version. If I give A, it's going to give the same information what we have got, almost same information what we've got above. And if you give udemy-r, it's going to give only the Linux kernel version. So this question can also be asked because this is a kernel version currently we are running. I think this is it for proc. If you are interested, I can explain a little bit more, but may not be required. Yeah, so proc is there. Quota is, we have seen that we have created a quota file for our quota for mounting and removing the quota. Basically, we should have done this in /opt as well. And root is the home folder of root. So root is a user, and here we have seen that home folder of a normal user is going to be in the /home/user1 and test. So similarly, we'll have a home folder of a root user as well. So this is the home folder of the root user, which lies down in the top. Run is where we do run the applications or some of the files is going to be srv and sys. Srv, what has srv? I'm not sure what it has. It's blank, so I'm not sure. And sys is system files. So whenever we wanted to talk to the device, we are required to go in the sys directory and we can talk to the device, but which will not be required by you guys. So no issues. So TMP is a temp folder. User is again a user based, not user based. All the user information or all the user application we do keep here. And where is the folder where we can get all the logs? Where, and then these are all the things where we can get the logs. And in that log, we go into the folder and we see that in this var log, we can see that the message log is wherever your system is booting, that log you can get. Boot log is again a boot log also. The message is the log where after booting also, boot log is the system boot log, that's done. And after turning on your system, whatever message is going to throw in your system log, that is going to be get into D message, and it's get recorded as soon as it's get the D message. It's a buffer, and if it's get filled, it's going to be get recorded and it's going to be get saved as dmessage.old, and then once again saved as dmessage.old.1, something like that. Firewall D is a firewall log. Grubby prone debug, maybe it's the log for grub, the bootloader, what we have seen. HTTPD is a log for HTTPD service which is running here. Last log is a log which is related to last login. Mail log, messages log is the logs for which the system has sent internally. QMO-GA, it's the, I mean, basically it's all the logs related to some of the application. This QMO is related to application QMO, and secure, I'm not sure. Tuned also, I'm not sure. Yum.log is the log which we have, what are all command we have learned and what are all logs the Yum has thrown to us. So these are all the basic log. So some of the time, sometimes we do go logs in boot.log. Syslog we don't have, so either we look for messages log or dmessage log. So these are all the 3 to 4 logs which we will look over. And if we are dealing something in any website, then we need to go and look at the HTTPD logs as well, according to the requirement. So this is the overall, what to say, overall picture about the folders and the logging. So that's it for today. I will say here. I'm going to stop the recording.